But more frequently, and probably most frequently, the question I get asked about is, well, what about a debt relief or a debt settlement program? Those are tough. There are some programs that are great out there. There are some programs that really do try to help the consumer. And unfortunately, there's also some programs out there that just look to make more money from the consumer or end up costing the consumer even more down the road. The things that I always tell people to look out for is avoid a debt relief program that has a high upfront cost to you. If you're paying a bunch of their fees and a bunch of their money up front before you're actually paying any money to the credit cards or getting any relief, that's a red flag. The other thing that I also like to point out, there are some nonprofit credit counseling organizations out there. Those nonprofit organizations typically tend to give better relief and better results to the individual. But that's one of those important should I or shouldn't I questions. A lot of times somebody will come to me and their debt relief payment is $700 a month, and we look at it and their bankruptcy payment would only be $200 a month. And that kind of goes back to that initial determination of, if I told you you could do it this way or that way, what is the most advantageous? And that's something to look at. The overriding thing is the bankruptcy going to provide you with the relief that you're looking for relief? And that's the ultimate should I or shouldn't I question. For example, an individual that has very little in the way of assets, has very low income, the bankruptcy is going to typically provide them with quite a bit of relief, in that it's going to get rid of their debts but not have a lot of payback or not have a big payback number in a Chapter 13. But the individual that has a lot of assets, maybe they own a piece of property that's free and clear, or maybe they have some vehicles or some of those things. It may be that your bankruptcy payment would be $700, $800, $900 a month. And when we look at your budget, that's just not feasible. That's typically a situation where bankruptcy is not going to make sense, and we need to make and look at the alternatives. Those alternatives being, you can hire an attorney to negotiate debt settlement and some of those things. So, that first initial question of should I or shouldn't file bankruptcy, it's one of those questions that depends a lot of times on your specific situations. But in general, the important things to look at are the amount of debt you have, the amount of assets that you have, and the type of relief that you're looking for, as far as that goes.